Hi everyone, Joe Smiles, Uncensored Natty Pro. Okay, it's wobbling around a bit. Fucking hell. Snatchers, we're going to look at does aspartame or aspartame raise insulin levels? But it's by a guy. Got to warm up, Jesus. Legs are tired from yesterday because I did more squats yesterday. Layne Norton he's called, and got my diabetes 4 o'clock meal. Who needs caffeine when you have carbs? Well, yeah, so Layne Norton, he's been going since before me, or around time as me, same time. Oh, fuck. I'm too upright. Okay, let's get this fucking... God, I'm stiff still. Oh, fuck. Layne Norton, he's been going since the late 90s. He did a PhD in nutrition, I think. But he used to be really into bodybuilding, won a number of bodybuilding competitions in America, and juicing out of his fucking mind, but was telling everyone back in the early 2000s that he was drug-free, when he clearly wasn't, but people didn't know about that kind of thing back then. So they all just assumed that he was drug-free, but he's certainly not. He's a complete fucking bullshitter. He used to sell I think he still sells his supplements. BioLane, I think it's called. But he was an absolute con artist for years and years and years. Decades. Oh, that's better. It's only recently, maybe the last 10 years, he started to change his tune and be more evidence-based and call people out. Whereas I was fucking calling him out to people back in the early 2000s, because he's absolute full of shit. So the thing is, right, he's changed his mind on so much stuff. We're back to the same thing, aren't we? If you go dedicating yourself to someone who talks shit and you don't know it, you end up wasting a lot of your life because you follow them thinking that they're right about stuff, and then when they change their mind or they grow up a bit, you're then fucked because you've then lost so many years, whereas they've been on their path doing what they're doing. Okay. So that's why you've got to be so selective and so careful about following people online. Even me, you have to be careful. Although you're going to get somewhere if you follow me, but even so, you've got to be careful when you... My clients all the time, they check me all the time. So I have to make sure I'm right because it's my full-time job. 7 days a week, not doing shit on the internet like this. So, because I get results for people, I've got to make sure that I know exactly what I'm doing. But also, I'm not intellectually lazy either. So, I make sure that what I'm doing is right for everyone involved, myself and the people that pay me. So we'll listen to his video in a second. But I think, yeah, I've listened to this one. This one, yeah, he's bang on it on this, I have to say. He's right. But we'll listen and we'll go through it together. Because we're a team, aren't we? 40. Excuse me, sorry, my reflux is very bad. I take huge amounts of medication for that. I've had grade 3 erosive gastritis in the past from chronic vomiting for years and years. Yeah. So I take 3 times 500 mils of Gaviscon and esomeprazole 40 milligrams every morning, and 3 bottles of Gaviscon every month on prescription, which is a lot, isn't it? It's probably not healthy to take all that, but I've got to, otherwise I'll just be sick. Okay. I don't need to hold it at the top because I've already got the snatch, so in the gym I'll just let go of it. But obviously in my house I can't let go of it. Or I'll break the floor, even though it's on a nice Nepalese rug. Yeah. Turn my laptop round so I can see.
Does not raise insulin. Whenever I do videos about aspartame or any artificial sweetener, it gets like the most vitriolic reaction.
So true.
Anti-seed oil people, anti-aspartame, anti-artificial sweetener people are the loudest bunch.
Oh, they're fucking cunts, man. Fucking cunts. People are so territorial, tribalistic, woke when it comes to dieting and eating, aren't they?
Presented at a scientific symposium, it has not been published in peer review yet, demonstrating that diet soda consumption or artificial sweetener consumption is associated with type 2 diabetes incidence. And when people were asked to explain the association of artificial sweeteners, since your brain is sweeteners.
I'm doing 5 of these.
Well, a new study has just put the nail in the coffin of that theory. First of all, why are artificial sweeteners associated with type 2 diabetes? This doesn't surprise me at all. They're also associated with obesity, which is led people to be like, see, that causes you to be fat. This is a case of what we call reverse causation. Because if we look at the human randomized controlled trials, what happens when they give artificial sweetened beverages in place of sugar sweetened beverages? People lose substantial weight.
Yeah. So it's the so what you want to do is, when you're looking at research, is look at the systematic reviews. Hang on. You want to look at systematic reviews where they collect all the research of the last 10 or 20 years and then analyze all the results, and also randomized control trials, like he said, where they get a collective number of people, they randomize them into groups. So one group will have, say, a placebo, one group will have water, and one group will have, in this case, non-nutritive sweeteners, or in this particular video he's doing about is aspartame. Then they get them to do all kinds of shit, but they got to keep the variables even. and then they see what happens at the end, and then if they want, they can reverse the groups. Then they analyse what results happened in the groups, or they can cross-analyse the results. Number 3. And as you can see where he's put up on the screen, there's been loads of randomized control trials now on non-nutritive sweeteners, which just means nothing in them. They're just sweeteners like sucralose, aspartame, and and I've got all these on my computer. I've got a freaking database of thousands of research papers. We know when we compare sweetened beverages versus water, after 52 weeks, we get people dropping weight because they're not ingesting more calories. When we have low and no calorie sweetened beverages replacing sugar sweetened beverages, comparing body weight and cardiometric. So looking at atherosclerotic development, shit like that, we can see from the systematic reviews that it's better to have sweeteners. Effects of non-nutrient sweeteners on body weight and BMI in diverse clinical contexts, so that would include lots of people with comorbidities. Again, we see people losing weight and doing better on sweeteners than if they're on other shit. Here we've got one. Do they say the dates on these? Here we've got non-nutritive sweetened beverages versus water for just 12 weeks of a weight loss program, randomized control trial. So this one was 52 weeks. Again, losing more. This is the last one. Okay, that's that. Losing more weight than if they're just doing oops. Okay, so get rid of that. Put this up to, I got an easy way of changing that, surely. Maybe not. Okay, next we got squats. Only 2 sets of squats. Enable sound. Let me just check my program. Yeah. 1, 5. 1 minute's rest in between. Friday. Yeah, okay. So, let's continue with it. Oh, then there's weight loss, maintenance, metabolic improvement. So that could be glucose regulation, insulin regulation, a few other hormones related to satiety and appetite. And then the effects of water and sweeteners beverages on weight loss and weight maintenance, a randomized control trial. Yeah, it's all proving pretty much the same thing by now. But if you use your noggin, you can pretty much, and you know the research behind all these things and what the mechanisms will be, it's pretty obvious what's going to happen.
For weight loss response when compared to substitution for sugar-sweetened beverages. Probably because people who may be used to sugar-sweetened beverages might be pursuing that sweet taste elsewhere and consuming more calories. Unless you want to argue that artificial sweeteners are not. But they're not. But I do find it interesting that much of the rhetoric around artificial sweeteners is because they raise insulin and they mess up your insulin sensitivity. And
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around on the internet.
And it's going to make you hungrier because it raise your insulin. A new meta-analysis of human randomized control trials looked at aspartame, whether or not it affects blood glucose responses, insulin response, appetite, energy intake, and appetite-related hormones. This is a huge meta-analysis. In fact, they actually did like multiple meta-analyses within.
Yeah, this is a great study. I've got it on my laptop. It's just come out.
And in the short-term responses, they did 4 different meta-analyses for short-term responses of blood glucose and insulin in people consuming aspartame. And they looked at aspartame versus different comparators. So basically like aspartame versus a vehicle. When you give aspartame, you can give it in a capsule, you can give it in powder form, you can give it as drops, you can give it as a tablet, you can put it in a drink.
Yeah, so they've found that even different levels of aspartame, or how you administer it through food, drops under the tongue, so on and so forth, it doesn't make any difference either. And you don't, it doesn't build up in the system, and it works a bit differently to sucralose, which builds up in the system, but then you just excrete it out in your poo and pee. Yeah, so it doesn't really matter how you have it. It doesn't make any difference. But yeah, you're let's continue.
Whatever the vehicle was, so if they were looking at aspartame in a drink, they also gave the placebo group a drink without aspartame. If they put it in a tablet, the placebo group was getting a tablet without aspartame. So basically, aspartame versus vehicle. Then they also looked at aspartame versus other low-calorie sweeteners. Sucralose, monk fruit, stevia, those sorts of things. Then they looked at aspartame versus sweet-tasting sugars. And they also looked at aspartame versus non-sweet-tasting carbohydrates. And then finally they looked at aspartame versus other nutritive components. Fats, proteins, as part of like a complete meal, as part of a food, all different kinds of things. And so they looked at, okay, where were there greater responses for glucose and insulin? And basically what they found was pretty similar for both glucose and insulin with a slight difference. For glucose, they found that aspartame had no effect when compared to no aspartame. People who didn't get aspartame versus those who did, neither had glucose response. In shock. Then if they looked at aspartame versus other low-calorie sweeteners, no difference in glucose response, neither one caused the glucose response. Then if they looked at aspartame versus sweet-tasting sugars had a much bigger glucose response versus aspartame because, again, aspartame is not increasing blood glucose, whereas sweet-tasting sugars are. Then they found the same thing against non-sweet carbohydrates. The same thing against nutritive. So aspartame did not cause a glucose response. The only thing that caused glucose responses were sweet-tasting sugars, non-sweet-tasting carbohydrate, and the nutritive components.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? When your body breaks down the components of aspartame, it doesn't really have anything to do with it. So it doesn't need to release glucose. What am I doing? Glucose or insulin to start breaking it breaking the molecules down, or in terms of sugar, if you were to just have sugar or glucose, mono and monosaccharides and disaccharides. Mono is 1 and di is 2. So table sugar is 2. That's all I'm doing with squats today. Fuck. Oh my god, it's like my body has, well, my body did go through a crash. It went through a neurological crash 8 weeks ago, and it's like my whole system has been fried. So there should be, with muscle memory, there should be some improvements, faster improvements, but they're a bit slow. Okay, 2 minutes rest. Because I've been training my whole life, shouldn't go backwards as far as I did. Yeah. 4. And then we have front squat. Today. Okay, let's continue.
To insulin, they found the same thing. No insulin response. The only difference was, versus other low-calorie sweeteners, they did see a small difference in insulin, with people getting aspartame having a little bit more insulin. Now, here's why I'm not concerned about that. One, we've already...
All right. This is called cephalic initial phase response. And what happens is, when you walk past a shop, and like any shop, Indian restaurant, bakery, it doesn't matter what's in there, you'll have an initial phase response, which is predominantly caused by the parasympathetic nervous system, which just releases a tiny bit of insulin because it's in anticipatory response, a bit like when you're anticipating to have sex. Same thing. You release a tiny bit of insulin because your receptors, your flavor receptors and sweet receptors, which aren't just in your mouth but also in your gut, respond to the sweet taste that they anticipate. It's just wired into your DNA. There's nothing you can do about it, and there's no need to do anything about it. And it's not, hang on. Oh, I've got to take the mic off or I'll crush it. Shit, So this response is normal and it gets triggered. This initial response to any type of food gets triggered just by looking at food, just by thinking of food, just by smelling food, just by tasting a tiny little bit of food on your tongue, because you have sweet receptors on your tongue as well, and other things. But of course, it's just not to do. Insulin doesn't just get released when you eat sugar. It also gets released when you eat everything else. So it's not a problem, is it? It just happens, and it's not enough to cause a spike in insulin in diabetics or any problems like that. It's just not a problem, because otherwise, think about it. If a diabetic was out of control and they were wandering around the high street shopping for nice Levi jeans, which I've got some coming later today, then every time they walk past a coffee shop, a restaurant, a bakery, they'll get a massive insulin response, wouldn't they? And then they'll start producing loads of insulin and glucose in anticipation for what am I doing? I'm not concentrating. For about to eat. But then if they're not eating, they'll collapse on the floor and have a diabetic attack. But they don't. So it's not a problem, it's an observation. That's how to look at it.
That aspartame alone does not cause an insulin response. Because when they compared it to vehicle alone, there was no response. Why might there be a difference between other low-calorie sweeteners? Well, there was only 4 studies included in that meta-analysis, so the sample size was pretty small. And there was 1 or 2 studies that really showed the difference. And I'm guessing maybe in those studies, those artificial sweeteners, or actually they weren't artificial, they were non-nutritive sweeteners because they were milk fruit extract and stevia. Perhaps they actually make insulin go down a little bit. So it was a small difference, but I'm pointing it out for the sake of being accurate.
Yeah, he's just being honest in case anyone says anything.
No aspartame, no increased insulin.
But he should have just explained what I explained.
More of the same. When they looked at long-term studies, they found more of the same. So when they looked at appetite-regulating hormones like GLP-1, there was really no difference between groups. They didn't find an effect.
Yeah.
Aspartame. Now, when it came to appetite and
Power cleaned. Oh no, I've done that. Yeah, I've done it. So I've got stiff leg.
So people who consumed aspartame actually ended up eating less calories than people who were not consuming aspartame. And they actually had lower...
Now, why would that happen? People still think that if you consume calorie-free sweeteners, that you'll want to crave more. Oh, it activates my dopamine circuitry and it will make me just crave sugar, and then I'll get addicted to even more sugar because it's very, very powerful. These sweeteners, like 1,000 times, 100 times more powerful than sugar. But the research has shown that it's just not the case. But when you think about it, it's unlikely to be. Well, guess what? I'm writing a book. How many books am I writing? Bloody loads. I'm writing a book on everything to do with the psychology of fat loss. And one of the misinterpretations is that we get addicted to food. And guess what? Spoiler alert, we don't. Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it, motherfuckers. But why is that? Well, I go into that in my book that I'm writing. Another misconception, isn't it? We just go around getting addicted to all kinds of food and therefore we should cut them out. Hang on. Think about this. If food was addictive, or sugar is addictive, carbs, as everyone says, then if I live off pretty much very, very simplified sugars, how come I'm not addicted? Does it mean that I'm an elite and you lot aren't an elite? Does it mean I'm better than you? Because I'm not getting addicted and you lot are, fuck you lot, I'm better than you, no, as they will do online arguing. Of course not. I'm no better than you. I'm a fucking human being with probably on average worse fucking problems than you, almost all of you have got. More drawbacks with my health. So how come it's not affecting me and I'm not getting really fat and addictive and ending up in the psychiatric ward? Because I fucking eat so much fucking sugar. This is all fucking sugar. My sugar, well, this is sugar-free Ribena and maltodextrin. And my 50 grams of carbs in 200 gram bottle. And I'm not ending up in a straitjacket and having a lobotomy, am I? To all the fuckwits online. Why? Ask yourself that. Am I superhuman? No, I'm not. Do I have a mindset that's different to the vast majority of people? Yes. But an addiction is an addiction, isn't it? So it would override, or do I override it with my mindset to begin with? Basically, no. I don't need to because it doesn't exist. To think that I've got an even worse operation on my rectum in January. I've got to do all this fucking rehab again, build myself back up. But take one day at a time, keep the neuroticism and anxiety low, focus on the objective, make a plan, stick to the plan, assess the plan, reflect, how can the plan be better? So what I teach people in my fat loss S.O.S course program, brain first method, whatever you want to call it. It's how people get successful. Fuck, my bum is... Fucking hell. 10. Well, my bum was a lot worse than this actually. Especially over the last year. A lot of bleeding when I was training in the gym for 2 hours a time. Fucking hell, it was agony. Could hardly walk out of there at the end. But it's not because I'm weight training, it's because I'm just standing up. Standing up for 2 hours. That's why I have to lie down all fucking day. Otherwise they become thrombosed, your veins, especially if they're grade 4 like mine. They become, and you got rectal lining hanging out. They become thrombosed and then you're in trouble. I had to go to hospital 8 weeks ago and no one could get the fuckers back in. And I had 6 massive ones. Now that's a fucking nightmare. Had to put anaesthetic all over it and it's still Still wouldn't all go back up. Oh Jesus, went on all night, all day and all night. And because I was saying fucking hell in the ward, and I went, and the nurse told me to go to there's definitely racism in London with the nurses. And I don't mean white nurses, because I've been in hospital hundreds of times and I've witnessed it. White people are racist, but so are other people, I'll tell you that. She told me to go to the toilet, stop making all that noise. Well, that was before she told me there wasn't any beds, when there was a whole ward with no one in it. After a Filipino nurse, who are probably the best nurses you can get, Filipinos. And it was like, hang on, turn round. There's a bay, shall I say, a bay, no one in it. The black nurse was like, fuck off, motherfucker. Putting up with that shit all the time, I tell you. And she's like, go to the toilet. So I went to the toilet, still making a racket, because it was agony. Come out, I can hardly walk, got my finger up my ass. Fuck. Is anyone coming to help me? I thought we were going to get this anaesthetic stuff. Stop swearing, right, I'm calling security. She just called the security. Then the registrar surgeon, who was, I don't know, Arabic, young guy. There's kids on this ward. Right, I'm not going to see you now. In his accent, like, what? Not going to see you now. I've been here for hours, no one's seen me. Well, you're being abusive. I wasn't being abusive, so I started filming it to prove that I wasn't being abusive. Anyway, they called the security. Can you believe it? Be a patient, you're treated like that. And then, of course, when the head nurse came, hello there, Irish girl, very nice. And the two security guards, they're like, we're so sorry, this should have never have happened. I'm like, yeah, you're telling me? Fucking sorry state of affairs, isn't it? And then I went home in the middle of the night and I had to call an ambulance because I couldn't make it home in my car because the pain was out of control. Right, let's continue.
Ratings of appetite. This completely explains why aspartame, or people who consume artificially sweetened beverages, lose weight compared to sugar sweetened beverages. It also, by the way, completely buries and burns the idea that aspartame increases insulin and that's going to make you hungry. It obviously does not, because people lose weight when they consume artificially sweetened beverages with aspartame in place of sugar sweetened beverages.
Yeah.
They lose weight.
They lose weight. So
people who consume water. So, in order for you to make the argument work that aspartame is going to make you hungry because it raises insulin, the only alternative that can possibly be true is aspartame is a really good fat burner.
Yeah. If it really made people want to overeat because, oh, look, I'm experiencing having sugar, which is placebo, then people would just then get out of control and just eat loads and get really fat, wouldn't they? When they have aspartame or sweeteners, they just don't. So then he's saying, well, if they don't, then it would be it would do the opposite, wouldn't it? It would make you burn loads of fat. And then of course it doesn't, because people don't come off these trials mega skinny. And a lot of these trials on sweeteners have got a bad rep, only because of the people who read the conclusions and they don't actually read the study, and so So the authors often have to, and sometimes misrepresent what they've done, but they have to just write a brief conclusion. So if they do find something, but it's not really significant, they still have to put it in the conclusion. But if you read the study, then you find out that, oh wait, actually it has these limitations which will just alter the... So you would have people, for example, having it at different times of the day, or going home and doing their own diary on what they're eating, and they're not locked into a hospital ward, so you don't necessarily know that they might be placeboing themselves or noceboing themselves, going, oh, I'm having these sweeteners, I think I'm actually getting really hungry, yeah, I think I am. And they talk themselves into it, and then they start overeating, and then they don't really write it down because they go, oh fuck, I've got to put this in the trial. And you get a lot of people doing that, and then it distorts the results. Although a lot of the trials on sweeteners have been on mice and rodents, and people don't read the study, so they just read the conclusion, and they don't necessarily mention that the studies were done on mice, which have a completely different metabolism to humans. So you can never compare rodent studies to humans. And then and then you get influencers putting their own interpretation of the study when they haven't read it properly on Twitter or something, and then it spreads like wildfire because you've got confirmation bias, where people want to confirm their biases. When they go, yeah, I think I see a lot of red cars, and I've heard that red cars are the most popular cars. And then they go out the house the next day and they go, oh shit, I'm seeing lots of red cars, I never noticed. And then they try and search, are red cars really that popular? And then you find out, well, they are in certain countries, or maybe not, or they used to be, or not in other countries, depending on what country you live in. But then they confirm it, and they go online and they type in, guess what guys, I saw so many red cars today, and this confirms it. That's the confirmation bias, which screws so many people up. So you've always got to think something and then think, or you've got to, hang on. So you've always got to, before you think, you've got to think, why am I thinking this? Or after you've thought it or said it, you've got to say, well, what were my reasons for thinking that? Because then you're checking yourself, aren't you? That's one simple way. That's a basic way of increasing your self-resilience. Because when you question yourself a lot, you have no choice but to confront your inner demons and your inner thoughts. So by doing that, you're confronting what you think and what you do, and therefore you increase your mental resilience, don't you? Your capacity to accept your own thoughts and build on them, and give yourself the opportunities to find a better way. And then you're also increasing your own self-awareness and self-learning process, because when you question yourself, you think, well, why did I say that? And what was the meaning of that? Well, is it really true? And then you try and find evidence for it, and then you do more research, and then you go down rabbit holes to try and disprove yourself. And that's how you learn. It's a learning process, and that's how I get a lot of people to coach them on how to learn how to lose fat and keep it off for life. And it sounds like a lot, but it's not, because once you get used to it, it becomes part of your subconscious, doesn't it? You're replacing it with something else that you're already doing.
No difference in adverse event reporting compared to placebo with aspartame. And they even had a study where they took people who said they were aspartame sensitive. So these are people who said they would headaches or tummy aches or whatever it was when they consumed aspartame. And they blinded them by either putting aspartame in a cereal bar or sweetening it with something else in a cereal bar, like regular sugar. And what did they find? No difference in adverse event reports. It suggests that this may be a placebo. You hear that aspartame is going to give you a headache, you hear it's going to cause all these problems, and so then you end up feeling like you're We also looked at medium and long-term studies in people who had diabetes and saw basically...
That's so true, isn't it? Placebo and nocebo is such a major part of life, even with animals. So nocebo is the opposite of placebo. So placebo is, hey, take this pill. I'm telling you, this is a nice blue pill. It's going to make yourself feel much better. You wait, it did me. And then you go, oh, okay. And you take it. Maybe it's someone giving it to in a white coat. And it's like, oh, this appeals to my bias that they've got authority. And then you take it. You go, you know what? I'm actually starting to feel pretty good. And then the nocebo is the opposite. So you go, someone goes, see this red pill? Evil, furious red pill. Take this, and I'm not joking, you're going to have some fucking major headaches with this. You're like, really? You're like, yeah. And it's going to make you piss weak. You're going to be fucked up, man. Take it. And you go, okay. You take it and you go, you know what? I think I'm getting it. I think I'm getting the fucking headaches. I'm fine. And then that's where you talk yourself out of something or talk yourself into something being bad. And the funny thing is, in the book I'm writing, which also involves placebos and nocebos, is that most of serotonin reuptake inhibitors, so depression medication, is based on placebo, because in society we just think, oh, that's going to make you better. Yeah, I hear about that all the time. It's been marketed ever since I was a kid. But the thing is, no one's found evidence that it does anything with your serotonin, and actually reuptaking it or boosting it would just make you even worse. And in fact, over long term, it does. So there's loads of placebo and nocebo effects of medication and drugs. So he was just saying, you give a group of people nothing, but tell them it's got, what's going on here? Tell them it's got, hang on, loads of sweetener in, and they go, oh fuck, that's gonna really give me headaches and screw me up. And of course, it does. So, actually, there is research with sweeteners causing some gut problems, like some diarrhea and bloating. That is a given. But anything more than that, you're not really looking at any problems. It's nocebo. Talking themselves in or out of something.
Exact same effects as they did in healthy subjects. There are also medium-term studies which were up to 30 days, and these studies range from 15 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day to 45 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day, which is between 7 to 26 cans of Diet Coke per day, just to understand how much aspartame this is. No effects on glucose and insulin.
How many?
These subjects. There are also medium-term studies which are up to 30 days, and these studies range from 15 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day to 45 milligrams per kilogram of body weight per day, which is between 7 to 26 cans of Diet Coke per day, just to understand how much aspartame this is. No effects on glucose and insulin, HbA1c, and
it's not going to, is it?
And adverse event reporting. Now, they also looked at long-term studies for over 30 days. Basically, the summation of those is they saw no differences in people consuming aspartame in terms of insulin sensitivity, HbA1c, adverse event reporting, appetite regulating hormones. They did see a difference in energy intake and appetite with better results in people consuming aspartame versus people not consuming aspartame, or if they consume saccharin as a low-calorie sweetener, they actually had better ratings with aspartame compared to saccharin. Saccharin does appear to be unique as a sweetener. There's some weird results with it. I don't recommend it as a sweetener. Probably better than regular sugar, but it's definitely not as good as some of the other artificial sweeteners. And oh, by the way, the ratings of hunger and energy intake were not just better compared to sugar-sweetened beverages, they were better compared to water as well. And one long-term experiment used a high dose of aspartame, 2,700 milligrams per day, which is equivalent to about 15 Diet Cokes per day.
That's a lot, isn't it?
And this was in type 2 diabetic people, and saw no differences, no changes in insulin sensitivity, insulin levels, or glucose responses.
Yeah.
And again, it is time to take this myth that aspartame causes these problems, whack it over the head, put it in the coffin, burn the coffin, and bury it deep beneath the Earth's crust. It is not freaking true. It's just not true.
It's just not.
Going through a whole other
With all the steroids he's done since he was a late teen, God knows how he's still got hairline. I'm losing my hair, but he's about 41, I think. I'm 48, so I'm a fair bit older than him. But in terms of hair, yeah, his hairline's going, but he's doing pretty well, isn't he? Start. Oh my God, sorry, I've got to go in here because my bum is just getting worse and worse. Fucking hell. Got one more of these. So, let's continue.
Things about how most of the stuff about aspartame out there is just BS, because let's just go through aspartame metabolism real quick. So aspartame is 200 times sweeter than sugar, so you need only a small amount of it to sweeten whatever you're sweetening. So for example, in a Diet Coke, there's about 184 milligrams of aspartame. Now aspartame does not get into your bloodstream, and it does not get into your tissues. There's no documented cases anywhere where they've shown aspartame in any tissue or the blood, because it is completely and rapidly metabolized in your gastrointestinal tract into three things: into about 50% phenylalanine, 40% aspartic acid, and 10% methanol. Aspartic acid,
I don't know that.
Amino acids. And you get 20 to 30 times more phenylalanine and aspartic acid eating a steak than you do eating aspartame. So let's just.
So you get more of the metabolism breakdown of aspartame from eating food like meat. I have to say I did not know that. That's interesting, isn't it? So anyone that has the argument of, oh well, you can't get rid of it once it's inside you, I think, look, by the sounds of it, you just break it down from its properties and then pee and poo it out, just like you do with sucralose, which has also a bad rep. Well, I knew that you would do that, but I just didn't know that you'd what it's metabolized into is the same as what you get in certain foods. Fuck. Okay, I think I got curls now. Yeah, done that. See, this is why, guys, it's so important to monitor your training, because it's the increasing the self-awareness, the emotional regulation and emotional intelligence, isn't it? From a learning process of what you're doing. 5 curls today. Now I'm going heavier with the curls today. So yeah, writing stuff down for your training is really important, because then it allows you to build on experience. It's a form of journaling, and there's many advantages to that. And I don't mean, dear diary, today at school, Ted refused to kiss me, and now I'm going to hate men for the rest of my life. Or, dear diary, Melanie turned me down in front of all my mates, so I'm going to go on a rampage and do some really bad things when I get older. Not that kind of journaling. Dear diary, I want my hair like Madonna. Plus Toby fingered me behind the bins at school. No, not that kind. Dirty little fuckers. I know what you're thinking. Two, three, four, five, six, 7. Ah. Hi, mate. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you. Cheers. Bye. Bye. Don't know why I'm buying some stuff, because it's not going to fucking fit me again, is it, soon, when I start getting my strength back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Trouble is, I've got a tiny waist. It's like 28, 30 inches, because got nothing on me. And then I've got big arse and thighs and up the top here, and freaking big arse, so it's hard to fit into things. And I don't want baggy clothes. I want fitted, but then, yeah. Okay, we'll go to up. Yeah, I can't really do transformational videos for you guys because I'm not on steroids. And anyone who does transformational videos, unless it's, say, a woman losing loads and loads of fat and becomes hyper skinny, for a bloke, can't really do transformation videos because my weight's never going to change, never has done really. And that's one of the giveaways, is when someone, like, if I want to put on body fat because I think I'm going to bulk and then I think I'm going to cut and get loads of strength and then lose the body fat and then keep the strength or the muscle, drug-free doesn't work like that. Not at all. That is bodybuilders who take performance-enhancing drugs and they like the idea of bulking and eating shit, or eating some shit and then getting lean for a competition. That's where it comes from. In fact, a lot of the things that the general public think about are bodybuilding concepts not based on any scientific evidence whatsoever, that leaked out into the general population and then personal trainers took it on and then so on and so forth. So none of it works. I've pretty much been no heavier than, say, 82 kilos in my whole life, and that was with a little bit more fat, like a couple of kilos. Because even if I bulk, you don't put on more muscle as a drug-free person. You just don't. And anyone that tells you otherwise is a liar. Fucking liar. Like this guy, for example, he's 93 kilos. He competes at 93 and he's 5'10". And squats some ridiculous weight with terrible technique, fucked his back up so many times. He basically squats like this. So many people have told him, why are you squatting like that? What's wrong with you? And he's like, no, fucking shut up, that's how I do it. They're all just idiots. He's done himself proud for turning himself around from what he used to be, but guys, fucking idiots still. Just stay away from them. Stay away from liars. Stay away from them. Fucking idiots. I stay away from them. So if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you, isn't it?
Aspartic acid, then you better really be concerned about any kind of protein source. In fact, the labels on the side of Diet Coke or any diet soda, for example, talk about people with PKU, which is an inborn error of metabolism where phenylalanine cannot be converted to tyrosine, and people who have this error, phenylalanine can build up to dangerous levels in the blood, negatively affect the brain, and cause all kinds of neurotoxicity. Normal people don't need to worry about this. They've actually done studies in people with PKU. In fact, one of the studies included in this was in people with PKU, and they actually saw no negative effects using aspartame because it's such a small amount of phenylalanine. So let's just not worry about the 2 amino acids.
Yeah.
You get way more from any other source of protein in general.
That's interesting. So you get it from eating protein, the breakdown. Yeah, I think the thing is people just sweat the small stuff that they really don't need to be sweating over. They need to work on the basics. It's the same what they say in the military, and then what do they say in the special forces, especially in the UK? They get really good at the basics. When I used to do mixed martial arts, wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, reason why I would win a lot of the time was because I was very good at the basics, plus my top game was very good. And I wouldn't just let my neuroticism go and get involved with loads and loads of silly, crazy techniques. Again, distractions. Ah, fuck. Resting. Notice how my training is very regimented, isn't it? That's not nice. I won't train if my training is regimented. No, you fucking will. Because when it's regimented and structured, you know where you're going, you know where you need to end up, and you practice your emotional intelligent reflection skills to self-regulate your emotions. You then get addicted to the results, don't you? Not addicted to mixing shit up and then going, well, I'm getting nowhere, so you stop. It's all about the long game. You've got to think forward thinking into the future, what your future self wants, not what you want now. So that's why it's regimented, because it gets it fucking done, and it gets it done properly, and it gets it done week in, week out, month in, month out for life. And that objectivity gets your fat loss done for life as well, so that you don't get ever fat again. And you use the same techniques that I can teach you, the tools for life. So it becomes easy, doesn't it? It becomes easy when you know what you're doing and you know where you're going. And you practice the same techniques over and over again. As you can see, I do a lot of barbell curls, don't I? I'm not fucking about. Mike Israel, have you seen what he teaches? This one, I'll try and get a video of him, we'll put that up. He teaches people to get that. I think he did one the other day actually with that guy who's just started taking the juice. He looks Filipino. You lie down like this and you do curls like this. Oh my God, how fucking dumb do you have to be? Mike Israel has a PhD and was a university lecturer in sport and exercise science. I learned that shit. None of my lecturers were that fucking stupid. No way. They were great. Oh my God. The stupidity is overwhelming. But you go to the gym and you see guys doing it. Tell you what, another thing in a minute. Jeff Nippard, that cunt. Oh my God, I can't stand that cunt. He has probably single-handedly done the most damage to men's health in terms of training and men's mental health, shall I say, on the planet than anyone else. The shit that comes out of his mouth and the lies he does for other people, who are other influencers who are clearly on steroids, and he protects them. Oh no, he's so geeky, isn't he? The Canadian guy. Hi everybody. There's a new study out that if you do your leg extensions, which are the best exercises you could ever do for your quads, yeah right, if they were that good I'd be fucking doing them, wouldn't I? And you lean right back to work your rectus femoris. So you do your leg extensions, you're leaning right back like this, and you're doing them like this. Oh Jesus, how fucking dumb is that? Then he goes on about modifying the machine if the leg extension machine doesn't allow you to incline all the way back? Well, of course it doesn't. Hardly any of them, none of them do. It's fucking neuroticism again, isn't it? It's just how is... Because what he's trying to say is, oh yeah, it activates the femur. Rectus femoris. What did I say earlier? Anyway. And by doing so, you would build bigger quads. No, because it's not physiologically evidence-based, is it? Because you've got neurons supplying, it's called the Henneman size principle. You've got neurons supplying muscle fibers in groups. And standing curl, standing overhand curl, And the more motor unit recruitment, which it's all about, motor unit recruitment. So recruiting the maximal number of neurons as a unit to supply the maximum number of fibers, muscle fibers as a unit, to make the muscles as big as possible so they can cause more force. And that's how you get bigger. And by isolating joints, doesn't work. So that's why you can do these leg extensions leaning back, but they're not going to do anything. You will literally see no results. Again, unless you're on gear like him and everyone else that he deals with. And that's the difference between you and him and me. I'm only doing 5 of those today. Resting. Start. The other one that really gets me with the Jeff Nippard is he can think of a million trillion dumbass ways to do side lateral raises. And side lateral raises when you go out to the side with the arms, with the dumbbells. Oh, he makes up all kinds of shit with that. Oh, you've got to do it with the cable down here, and you've got to do it with the dumbbell, and you've got to come up and twist your pinky up, and you've got to hold on to a post. These lean away side lateral raises that he started doing, that everyone started doing them in the gym, because it increases your range of motion in the stretch position. I did a video on the stretch position on the real facts about stretch mediated hypertrophy and also full range of motion training. You can see those. They're actually really good informative videos. Yeah. And what I say with the research, it just debunks basically everything that they say. Because they say they're evidence-based, but they're not. And then you've got another load of bodybuilder influencers that, and they're all bodybuilders. Jeff Nippard's a bodybuilder. This guy's a bodybuilder. They're all bodybuilders. And then you've got other bodybuilders who say, no man, evidence-based lifting is retarded. Well, the ones claiming it aren't actually doing it, and the ones that claim science is bullshit are really the woke ones, aren't they? Because again, we come back to the post-truth society and culture where we can believe anything we want and we take it as our truth, and if other people don't want to believe it, then they're assholes.
The methanol. So that sounds scary. That sounds really scary. Do levels of methanol that you could get from aspartame consumption actually make a cause for concern? So first off, it's important to realize your body makes methanol naturally. You get more
That's very true.
Way more methanol from various fruits and vegetables and alcohol consumption
Yeah.
than you can ever get from aspartame. Well, let's just play it out. Let's just play it out. There was a study where they gave 4,800 milligrams of aspartame over an 8-hour period. That is
Sort my bum out.
about 26 Diet Cokes over an 8-hour period. They saw no concerning rise in methanol. They also saw no increase in formate because to metabolize methanol, which your body does metabolize out of your system, it doesn't accumulate. To metabolize methanol, it is converted to formaldehyde.
Sorry guys, I'm not taking my mic off, there's no point, but it's just painful. The pain builds up. So they get trapped outside my body. But it goes to show that you can, that you can still train when you're in when you're in moderate or severe pain.
Because it's not raising methanol levels in the blood.
Because you're not.
And aspartame itself, the molecule itself, doesn't even get into circulation.
Because I'm still looking after my health, aren't I?
It's never been found in the blood or any tissue. So somebody, please explain to me.
Yeah, we already know that it doesn't build up in the blood. You piss and shit it all out. It's not a problem. Yeah. Oh yes, that's what I was going to say. So, we're talking about this, right? Oh, have I mentioned it yet? So, everything I drink, apart from orange juice, good old OJ, even my Ribena, my sugar-free Ribena. And by the way, I do have sugar-free, caffeine-free Pepsi, which I've only just started taking actually, since I've got quite a lot of my dopamine back, now that I'm not on the dopamine blocking drug that I was on for 10 years, 8 years and then 2 years to wean off. I'm actually now interested in things. Oh my God, I wasn't interested in anything. Nothing. Could not have a go, could not do fucking anything. I could train, but I wasn't interested in anything. Oh, it was just awful. So now I'm getting my dopamine. I'm interested in clothes, hence why I've been buying some. I've been trying to do some dating, but then another year is wiped off because I spent most of the year on my sofa because I had to cancel all my speed dating events. I couldn't go. I tried to go to one. It was not great. I had to keep going to the toilet. Tried to go to another one after I came out of hospital. Got about half an hour on the train. Not even that, actually 10 minutes. In all, it was a half an hour trip. Had to come home. It was, yeah. So I want to do stuff now. I'm interested in updating my wardrobe. I'm interested in trying to get on with my life. And then this year I've had another wipeout with my bottom problems. But the point is, my point is that, hang on. My point is that, I don't know what my fucking point was, but my point about the fake sugar shit is that everything I drink, oh yeah, I'm interested in things. So I'm interested in Ribena, sugar-free. I'm interested in the taste of Diet Pepsi, no caffeine, because I don't drink caffeine. I'm interested in hot chocolates again, although it gives me fucking gut rot. I'm interested in no sugar Sprite. I'm interested in clothes, whereas before I wasn't. And the reason why I try to not drink things with sugar in if I don't need to is because I just don't need the calories, and then I won't get fat from the extra calories really of the sugar, hardly happens. It will be from the fat that I have, and my medical drinks do have a lot of fat in them, liquid fat. And so everything I consume, literally everything apart from the pure orange juice and a bit of the milk, some milk I have in the day, hot milk, is just, it's all sweetness, the lot. But even if they caused a bit of a problem, which they don't, it's way down the list of my fucking problems and your fucking problems. Your number one problem is getting your body fat low. I can't stress that enough. The number one problem of everything on the planet. Look what happens to dogs when they start getting fat. I know you can't compare rodents and dogs and cats with the metabolism of humans. I say this all the time. That's why I discard pretty much every literature review which is done on animals, and it's cruel as well. But yeah, it's way down the list. Other things are the way you think about things, the way you behave, then your body fat levels, then your training, then your nutrition, and not diet, because there's no such thing as a diet. Diet is a marketing term. Marketing term created by the diet industry. I'll do. It's more for my left side because I have a neck injury and my left side's weaker. Okay, let's get to the end of this. So what do I have left? Yeah, all I consume is, I was having a conversation with a client not long ago, a couple of weeks ago actually, and she was saying, oh, you're probably ill, kidney problems, liver problems. It's from your front of neck overhead press. It's from all the artificial sweeteners that you have. I'm like, really? Is that what you think? Yeah, that's what's making you ill. Those are really dangerous. They're horrible. They'll make you really ill. I'm like, oh, why do you think that then? Oh, you hear about it all the time. Toxic, 1, 2, 3, 4. Toxic to the body and makes you insulin resistant. And could she explain that? No. 1, 2, 3, 4. But people hear something and they run with it, don't they? And she's convinced. She is convinced. So then I try to talk to her about it, and she's not having any of it. None of it. None of it. And that's what people are like these days, aren't they? Because they listen to something, they all think they're an expert. And no one has the humility no one has the humility to accept that they don't know everything. Sometimes they don't know fuck all, but they want to think that they do. I think it's the fear of missing out, isn't it? FOMO. And also in what's called a insecurity, inferiority complex. Because when they hear someone online making video after video, they think, oh, this person must be really, really smart. And I'm not, because I don't understand. And now I'm listening to them, now I understand. A bit like since COVID, DIY went through the roof, didn't it? And it hasn't stopped. Because now people went online, saw people building shit on YouTube and TikTok. Someone built a wall in three seconds on TikTok, and they're like, I can fucking do that. Give me a break. And we have nothing worse than that in terms of people deciding what they put in their mouth and how they're exercising their health. Because people are really sensitive to that shit, aren't they? Tell someone that they're looking good and they're like, oh, thank you, I'll wank myself off. Now that you've told me that. Tell someone that they're not looking so good and they're like, you bastard, how dare you? You're fucking... You've got it against fat people. You're stigmatizing me. Which doesn't work. But that's the problem. Everyone thinks they're an expert. So I was at Tesco's not long ago. Well, yeah, I was 4 months ago. Guy from my gym, fat guy, always coming up to me, annoying the fuck out of me, just being so rude, really passive aggressive. You're right, Joe, how you doing? I don't want to hear it, Joe. You know what? I just don't fucking want to hear it. What the fuck's wrong with you? You look like this and you're so fucking ill. Just an absolute cunt. And I was at Tesco's one night and I was buying my Pepsis and my Ribena and my Sprite. And he was like, Joe, what the fuck are you doing? Of all people that I know, why are you eating that? Why are you drinking that shit? You know how bad that is for your body and how toxic when it gets inside you. It's so bad. And I'm like, Michael, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, Joe, you're meant to be this fucking whatever. I'm not even going to repeat it because it's embarrassing. You're the personal trainer and you're drinking this. Come on, you should freaking know better. Seriously, the estimations now have gone right down from what I thought you were. And this is a guy that's just started blasting so much steroids that he is literally like a different person. He's grown in height. He's taking so much steroids. His hands have grown. You've never seen anything like it. And he's getting it from I know he's getting it from. And I was just thinking, I was tired and I just thought, you're putting that shit in your body and you're trying to give me a lecture about me having some soft drinks when I literally have no pleasure from eating anything. You see the mental gymnastics the lies people do nowadays. Because of this shit, people like him lying on here about how strong they are and what they look like and stuff, and then people have an inferiority complex and a fear of missing out. Right. Oh, fuck. Didn't quite go to plan. I could feel my left arm not particularly strong with that, which is annoying. Not a lot I can do about it. Let's have a neck operation, which I'm not going to get. And I have to push press a little bit more than I wanted to. It was meant to be more of an overhead press. Well, yeah, so if I live off medical drinks, which if everything else I have packed with sweeteners, and I'm not getting fat, then I think it's something to possibly emulate on your end, isn't it? If you've got anxieties about it, and that's what it is as well. It's not just about my FOMO and inferiority complexes. it's also about food and health anxieties, isn't it? A lot of people suffer from health anxieties and they get themselves fat and unwell, and they don't really have the skills to do anything about it. So they end up being like a headless chicken, just going, what do I do? What do I do? I'll just do anything. I heard this. I'll cut out all sweeteners. And then they get really, and when they do that, they normally cut out probably carbs as well. And then they get really deflated and tired and mentally worn out and burnt out, mentally burnt out. And then they can't continue, and then it backfires. And then they go, next time I'll try again. And then they try even harder, and they fuck themselves up in the head even more. Nothing long term about that, is it? Because they're focusing on completely the wrong things. Their priorities are completely out of whack. Yeah, completely out of whack. Focusing on the wrong shit. See how this goes today. My left tricep and bicep is feeling a bit fuggy. I'd class it as fuggy. If any of you have ever had sciatica, I have some sciatica down my neck most of the time, although sciatica's here. Do you ever get, if you've got sciatica, do you ever have this fuggy pain but fuggy feeling into your bum, down your back of your leg or something, or down the side of it or front of the thigh? That fuggy feeling is the nerve being trapped by the bulging disc. People mental gymnastics about that as well. Oh, it's piriformis syndrome. No, it's not. Yeah, but my physio told me, yeah. Okay, you believe them. See how far you get with that. Not very, because what has the research shown with physios? They make a hell of a lot of misdiagnoses. And that's because of the way they're trained. They're trained poorly. They're trained in an extremely arrogant fashion, which makes them think that they know how to diagnose things, and they really don't, because most of the tests are not sensitive enough to the mechanism of injury or even the injury site. So that, for example, especially the shoulder, it's so complex and the structures are so close together that all the different orthopedic tests you do just aren't sensitive enough to rule out one thing and rule in another injury. That's why scans are very important for things like knees. Are pretty relatively easy to diagnose without scans, but you still need a scan. Shoulder definitely needs scans. Elbow's pretty easy. Lower backs don't need a scan most of the time, unless you have some red flags. Trouble is, talking of placebo and nocebo, hang on, and I'll tell you about the red flags. I'll tell you about the scans with lower backs.
How are we doing all these horrible things? But I'm sure the people in the comments of this video will come up
my bum.
with gymnastics to explain how it's happening. Alright, I'm out.
It's just amusing.
Oh, my bum. Let's turn this shit off. So, the nocebo of lower back. Oh, this is a fucking mess, isn't it? The nocebo of lower backs is that people are very sensitive about their lower backs. bulbs. And what researchers found is that when you go scanning people's lower backs and then telling them the results, such as, oh, you got degenerative joint disease and so on, disc disease and so on and so forth, people freak the fuck out. And then they go, oh my God, my back's literally falling to pieces. And some of the terms that the surgeons use to say these things to patients, like, don't do anything with your back. It's 10 years worse than an average person your age of 60, or, oh, you've got one of your discs is dehydrated, which they do dehydrate, but you don't need to say it like that. Remember, a lot of patients do have anxiety-related health issues. So they have the issue and then they develop the anxiety related to it because of it. So you have to be mindful of how you talk to patients all the time. I am. Because you can nocebo them the fuck out of doing nothing. Because then they just ruminate on, shit, my lower back is fucked, it's degenerative, it's got dehydrated discs, it's collapsing on top of each other and this, that. That happens to literally everyone after the age of 5. We know from the age of 5 that you can start developing atherosclerotic plaque in the arteries, and you can start developing disc degeneration, spinal joint degeneration, especially after the age of 18. Because we're not really made to be standing upright like this. That's why most dogs don't really have spinal problems, but they get hip problems because they're on all fours all the time. We're upright, we have back problems, they have hip problems and knee problems. Oh, fuck. Yeah, that's actually getting worse, that exercise, over the last couple of weeks, when I was doing 7 or 8 and now I'm doing 4. Okay, let's rest. Yeah, so what they found, the researchers, is that scanning lower backs, they've tried to stop doing it now because too many patients are freaking out and they're not being proactive about their back problems, and they make their back problems worse because they nocebo themselves, and then they think more things are wrong with them when they're not. They don't walk. It's called the pain avoidance model, where you have pain, you then avoid movement, you become more dilapidated, shall we say, disabled, quality of life goes down. You then think that you're going to have more pain when you move because you've got weaker, your structures have got weaker, you do have more pain as well, so then you do less, and so you avoid doing stuff and so on and so forth, and the cycle is very bad. And then to get out of that cycle, you start, what I do with patients is exposure therapy, where I just expose them to certain things and I build up their trust in their body and also change the way they think about things, and use exercise as a healing method, and they do a lot better. But it takes time, especially more chronic pain. When they've been in a lot of pain for a long time, it's very hard to get someone out of it, especially when they've listened to a lot of shit on social media. As you can see, I'm training in pain, and most of the time you shouldn't really worry about much pain at all, because the benefits of exercising are going to outweigh any residual pain that you have from an injury site. Yeah, so overall you would say you would have a disregard for pain, but not to a stupid degree, but you should have a healthy disregard to pain, yeah. But like everything, that takes time to nurture in someone. That's a bit better. Okay, I think that's everything. I'm just going to do one set of crunches, and I think we'll, yeah, so I've done, yeah, that and that, and that, and I've done that, and then that leaves me with a set of 30 crunches. Yeah, awesome. Okay, thanks guys. Hope you found some of that inspiring and then learnt some shit. Don't know how long I can keep these videos going. I will try my best, but I'll try and do some educational videos soon as well. All right, over and out.